Welcome to Western Wisconsin Journal. I'm Hudsonite editor and publisher Michael Foley, and with me for this segment is Hudson Mayor Alan Burchill. Welcome, Alan.
Thanks, Mike. Good to be here.
So, in the news recently, you're not going to be on the ballot for re-election this coming April, and I think everybody wants to know why not.
Basically, I've been serving the community as a city council person since 2007. And then in 2010, when Mayor Knutson decided to go to the legislature, he resigned and I was appointed. And I ran 2 times for re-election. So by the time I'm done, I'll have 5.5 years in, and I think that's enough. I'm a term limits believer, and whether it's self-imposed or by the legislature, I think it's a good thing to get change.
Right. Well, and I remember when I first came to town, you were you got appointed at the first meeting that I covered for
Right.
Hudson Patch before I even had the website up and running.
Yeah.
And I got to do a fancy Q&A with you in your brand new office.
I didn't even know where the office was when you said, would you like to do an interview? So I think it's kind of interesting that 5 years later, here we are again.
Right.
Talking maybe about the same topics and some of the same things that are going on in Hudson.
Right.
So,
well, and there seems to be quite a bit of turnover going on at the city right now. We can probably list them off together.
Yep.
New library director, new EMS chief, fire chief is about a year in.
Mm-hmm.
New city clerk, just brand new. You guys still have a vacancy, I think, in finance?
Yes. Neil Soltis is resigned and went over to Scandy, I believe, as a city administrator.
Right.
So yeah, we've had lots of changes, lots of people are able to retire, and it was I think they found an opportunity good time to get out, and so they've decided to move on. We've had real long-term employees within our system, and that's one of the strengths I think of our city and we still have a lot of long-term folks that have been there. They're able to do the job. They know how to do it very efficiently, and so we're going to miss the folks that left. Some of the things that, some of the advantages are we get some new ideas coming in.
Right, I was just going to ask, so what are the biggest challenges, first of all, facing the city when you've got this, this big influx of folks who haven't been here for years and years?
I think just how things get done and how are they going to accomplish their task and where things are and how do we accomplish them. But most of the folks, I wasn't available when Leanne was hired as our clerk. Very capable person, and Nancy did such a wonderful job. But again, when we bring in new folks, they have different talents and some strengths that maybe we didn't have before. And again, it's no reflection on the other folks because they've done a fine job. Right.
Well, and it's going to be interesting to see what great ideas this new blood will have coming into the city, new energy.
Yeah.
So looking back at your time as mayor, what are you most proud of? What do you figure are some of your greatest achievements from your 5 years?
Well, I don't consider it my achievements. The folks that worked on the council and the employees of the city are the folks that really make things happen. One of the things that we tried to do, or that I tried to do, is lay out our administration so that we do a lot of our work in committee, and we try and get all our work done and then come to council, and we don't have 4.5-hour meetings at city council. We try to run them organized, and I believe we've always allowed people to express their opinions, and we're pretty open with people to get up and speak to the council. And the other thing is we've really done a good job, I think, with budgets, and we've kept our mill rate right in line. We've been able to accomplish things with, I think, some limited resources that we've had to be able to deal with, and that's not easy. And we've got one of the things that I think we've really been lucky with. We've had we still do, some really good employees that are very hardworking, and they get a lot of work done. The idea that government workers are lazy or they always are leaning on shovels is so wrong.
Right.
And as a private sector person, you go in and you watch the dedication of these people, and I'm proud to be associated with them because it's no different than the private sector. I mean, there's good employees and there's some that aren't quite as good.
Right.
But the amount of work that we get done at our city, I'm proud of those folks. Another thing that I think has really been good is we finally put together a 5-year capital campaign. Or not a campaign, but a program to get our streets and equipment replaced, which doesn't sound like a very fun thing, but that's what government, small town cities do, is they have to keep their roads in good shape, and we've slowly gotten those things done. We've got Vine Street coming this year, or next year, and we're going to have 2nd Street done. I think it's just been moved back to 2021 versus 2017.
Yeah.
So,
well, and we know streets are something you guys are always going to hear about.
Oh, absolutely.
What are some of the biggest things that you guys always field complaints about, or what are some of the biggest challenges?
Well, in the scheme of things, there's just been very few people that have complained. I mean, I think a lot of people overblow. Everybody has an opinion on something, and whether it's streets or streetlights or how come the traffic. So, parking downtown has been. When I moved to town in '88, I ended up being there. We had a parking utility, and it's the same arguments then that they are today. And we tried to address that. We added I don't know the exact number, 56 new parking spots on First Street, and I think that helped a little bit.
Oh yeah.
We have a very successful downtown, and I'm pretty proud of that. I mean, the folks that have invested their money into this community. And the business owners have done a really nice job with downtown, and we try to support those folks as best we can. And
how difficult is it to meet all those competing needs of people who want to develop in the downtown area, which is a historic area?
Yeah. Well, I think the issue is, does it fit in the neighborhood? And there's restaurants. We've continued to develop new restaurants, and I think if you were to talk to some of the folks, we've got enough restaurants, don't bring any more in. Yet, why should they not have an opportunity to compete if they want to come in?
Yeah, it's really turning into Eat Street down there.
Yes, it is. And, I think it's a good, a couple years ago, I met a friend of mine that I hadn't seen in a long time. He lives in Shoreview. And I think I've told this story before, but so I said, what are you doing in Hudson? Well, I'm going out to the Y Camp. I'm donating a boat. And I said, well, do you ever get to Hudson? Oh, we come every other weekend. I said, do you still live in Shoreview? Yeah. Why do you come here? He said, well, we saw it in the magazine, Twin City Magazine. We came over and we fell in love, and he named all of our restaurants.
Yeah.
And he said, we rotate. We come every other week and we rotate all the restaurants in Hudson. We love it here. And there's a lot of different restaurants between here and Shoreview. And I think Hudson's become a destination, and I think that's a positive. One other thing besides the retail and the destination is our industrial park. And the former people that were, Mayor, Bro, and Knutson, and those folks and the councils saw fit to buy land to develop an industrial park. That has been a very big plus for our community, where our valuation is able to grow. And if that valuation grows, we're able to spend the money to provide services for the community. In today's environment within our state, if your valuation stays the same or goes down, you have less money to spend.
Of course.
And without raising rates, and you can't raise rates, we have spending limits. So the ability of us to attract new industry into our industrial park, and a real clean industry. We don't have any smokestacks that are there and polluting, and we've got good companies. Uline, for example, I think it's $495,000 a year.
I thought you were going to mention Uline when I asked you what the greatest achievement was.
Well, yeah, it was, and that was, having a business background, a banking background, the negotiations to bring them into town was fun. And it wasn't necessarily easy, and they wanted to get the best deal they can get, and they're a good company, and they were fair to negotiate with. They were doing their job, and we had to do our job. But they've paid all the fees that everyone else had to pay. We didn't give them anything.
Sure.
So, and we don't have to. I mean, and that isn't meant to be arrogant. We just have a good location and a nice industrial park.
Well, and just because you're stepping down from city service doesn't mean you're not going to be living here or involved in politics. How are you going to stay involved in the community? Well,
I'm president of the industrial park, and that's not necessarily a city position. I'd like to stay on that unless Denny says, I think we want to get somebody else on. But I just, with Trudy stepping down recently, Copenhagen, I moved into the president's position, and that's really a lot of fun. And you know, one of the next things long term that our city needs to do is look at where's our next industrial park going to go. And that's, again, that's going to be, you know, sometimes that gets pretty controversial because land in the city is pretty much spoken for.
Right.
And we need a pretty big block of land. And so the old owners, or the old people that were former folks that were here, they did a really nice job of picking that up. And this is the second main industrial park in our community that's been developed. It's good for us, good for jobs, and good for our tax base. So.
Right. So what is next for Mr. Burchill as you head off into the sunset? You're still working at your St. Croix Valley Insurance?
Yes, and I plan to do that, and I plan to spend more time with my grandkids. I have 4 now instead of 1 until recently, and so I have 4, and 1 in St. Paul and 3 in Denver. So spend a lot more time there, and we have a lake home up on Lake Magner, and so we really enjoy going up there. Maybe be able to spend Monday nights there instead of coming back for city council meetings and those kinds of things.
Sure.
We also have my wife and I would like to visit all the national parks.
Okay.
So we've got about 20 of them done. I think there's 47.
Wow, that's impressive.
And so we're going to try and get to all of them.
Are there any in Hawaii?
Yes, there are. But I'm not sure we're going to make it there. I don't know if I could stand the plane ride for being that long in a plane.
So while you're sitting in your rocking chair up at Lake Magnar, driving around the United States, trying to hit all these national parks, what are you going to miss most about your service with the city?
Oh, I think the I've been thinking about that because I figured somebody will ask me that question. I really think the people that I've met, it's a really unique opportunity to meet all kinds of people in all kinds of different situations. I was talking to somebody about going door to door for campaigning, and I happened to say, I love it. And he said, well, doesn't it bother you when the guy says, get off my property? I said, no, that's just, you know, it's nice to meet people. And I quite frankly, when I went door to door, I had so few people that were not real happy with me coming up on their property. First of all, they don't like politicians or something like that. But people will say, you're the first person that's ever stopped at my house and asked me to vote for him. And I thought, that's kind of unique. And people are concerned. They want to give their ideas, and they want to be listened to. So I think, you know, missing the folks I work with, the other city council people, the people that work at the city, and then the community as a whole. You know, it's interesting. You stay involved. There's lots of stuff going on, and you know, the pace will slow.
Sure.
So
when will be your last city council meeting in the mayor's chair?
I think it's probably April. The election's the 4th, so it might be the 11th.
Okay. What advice will you have for the next mayor who sits in that chair?
Do more listening than talking.
Do more listening
than talking, because it's a situation, and I think you want to allow people to express themselves, particularly city council people, and you know, I didn't cast a lot of split votes. I mean, I never had to vote a lot of times, so I think that's a good thing. I think we were civil with each other. We didn't have major controversies that created ill will on the council. I think everybody, when somebody leaves, we shake hands and say good luck and thanks for serving. And so, and it doesn't matter. You know, one of the things that if I'm disappointed at all is some of the political parties trying to make it a partisan race, whether it's mayor or city council. That's just, at the local level, I just don't buy that. I think we should be working for all the citizens, and it doesn't matter if you're a libertarian or a Democrat or a Republican. We're there to work for the residents of Hudson, and there shouldn't be a litmus test in order to be endorsed or somebody to vote for. Vote for the candidate that you think will do the best job, whether they're a Republican or a Democrat or a socialist. It doesn't matter.
Great. Do you have any advice for the citizens of Hudson as you move forward, or any words for them?
Oh, it's truly been an honor and a privilege to serve as your mayor. The The folks are lots of fun to deal with. You know, again, everybody talks about all the complaints, or I just didn't think there was that many. I mean, there's always going to be some folks that aren't happy about something, but by and large, people have been very respectful. They've been well-mannered, and I've tried to be that way to them when they come in. Sometimes I'm not as patient as I should have been, but I think that has a lot to do with Monday night and how late it gets. But no, I think it's an honor to sit in the chair. I've learned a lot, and hopefully the next mayor, whoever that will be, will continue on being an open-minded and a good mayor for our city.
Great. Well, that's about all the questions I had. Is
Great.
there anything else I'm missing, or anything else that you would like to say?
No, I think that's it, Mike.
Great. Well, I'd like to thank you for joining us for this segment, and folks can still see Alan in the mayor's chair through April.
Sounds good, Mike. Thank you very much.
Thank you.